abusia mo bia kwa be de ba akoroma TV GH so yaw amo be nsan ene medin onumonyafo eye Kwabena Agyepong enkam binu na wo ye eye general secretary de ma eye osuru koko amanyoko MPP wode abaso bodie achese emu ede popopa de ama onumonyafo doctor Mahmood Bawumia se he papa yi ewo mu se ye yina na ene ne ekọ contest ne de na so nani suadi hunu no ekame aye se ene be de no ese opega na yie yo opega na kankro na we yina di adanse se eye osuru koko amanyoko ma no omo elected leader no say ade atwa ne suru mu kura ne se papa na ho brase after the elections no watimi ene eye aspirant nkaye ni yina kasa atwe mo abombo se he ye yina ye yamanyoko baako nti ye yina ye kan ebomu anachese ye betimi akọkọ anwini esanse mpanisa sabia buru sabia son kotoko ohwe otukwa na se apesa eje ne baga eya na nya padie ni nua no nti se baako anwini na baako antimi anwini ye yina ye kabomu a na ye betimi anwini na abusia me pesa me nsam no ebe busirim kanti no ye beko na ya kwakutie nsam a olumunyafo Kwabena Agyepong what eto Ghana monten eso.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. I hope you're doing fine, sir.
I'm very good, Raymond. Very, very
brilliant. How was the run like?
It's very interesting. As you said, it's something I've always enjoyed. I've been involved in politicking since Professor Dubois' days. So I've traveled around the country with Mr. Kufuor, with Nanado in 1998, now current president, and then myself ran for general secretary, ran in 2007 as the youngest of the 17 aspirants. Famously then called Mujamuno.
Mujamuno, yes. I recall that very much.
You know, so it was a return to what I'm used to, and it provided me a wonderful opportunity, considering what had transpired in 2015, and I'm sure everybody is aware of that, to interface with the party grassroots and have a Q&A session with them, so that to have that dialogue, open discussion, and so they could ask me all the questions that they want to ask. And it provided me a good platform to communicate with Ghanaians and what I believe that we need as Ghanaians right now, which is the ushering in of a new dawn. And I think it's important that all of us, not only we the politicians, you the media, professionals, farmers, everyone, should recognize that the direction that we have been on, the trajectory that the country has been on for the last 30 years hasn't brought us to where we desired to be. So it is time for us to reposition ourselves, to reevaluate ourselves, to rethink our strategies, to restore back to basics our values, especially our dedication to our country, and to think in the collective. So I want to see this election as an opportunity for our flag bearer to launch himself, as he said, a new vision, to provide that kind of leadership that will earn the trust of Ghanaians, and that's I'm excited about that.
Would it be fair to say you have given up on becoming president?
The important thing is not about me as a person becoming president. My passion is about the change and the transformation of the Ghanaian, and that passion is very profound. It's not about me, the individual. I know that given the opportunity, I'll do a fantastic job. But again, anybody whose views coincide with mine, I'm prepared to work for. I am for the collective security of the Ghanaian people. I am for the goodwill of the Ghanaian people. So that is what we should be looking at as politicians, as Ghanaians, how we can serve society. I mean, your day is done when you've been able to contribute something that puts a smile on a fellow Ghanaian's face. So that, for me, is what we should look out for as Ghanaians, as politicians. Our very understanding of politics, governance, public service should be exactly what it is, service to the public. So my triple S is something I'm very passionate about. And I do hope that Dr. Bawumia, who has become our flag bearer, would piggyback on some of these things, because service is key. You have the spirit of service, sacrifice, be prepared to sacrifice for the common good, and also to be selfless. This spirit of individualism that has gripped Ghanaian politicians. We should not create what I call monsters out of politicians. And hence to that hero personality cult thing that is disturbing this country. And that's why some time ago I had reason to say that sycophancy has become a little bit of an enterprise in our country. We need the checks and balances in society.
Now, it's interesting you bring up all of these issues, because I want us to draw down to the just end the primaries.
That's right.
You dropped out in the first one.
That's right.
When the second round continued, do you think that this was a fair, credible, or if you could choose the words that Afarajad never liked using, a free and fair process to elect flag bearer?
Well, I think you should look at what the contestants, the final contestants, said on the day. And the main contestant admitting that he believed this was a fair and transparent process. The fact that immediately after the superdelegates, I came out and said, look, I think I accept the result. I'm a Democrat. I believe in the rule of the majority. The majority sometimes don't get it right, but at least we should respect the willful choice of the majority. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it to the top 5. I thought I would have been in there. But that is politics. Sometimes you don't get what you want. But your capacity to accept reality is very important as a political leader. And I do believe that the Elections Committee listened to some of the advice. I've been General Secretary before. I've superintended this kind of elections in 2014. And the best thing to do is to leave most of the work in the hands of the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission is a professional institution that is constitutionally mandated to run elections. So they have loads and tons of experience.
And the systems available to them.
Available to them. So once you do that, and once they listen to that kind of advice in the first meeting with the aspirants, we say, look, let the albums, everything, the running of the poll at the polling station be handled by the electoral officer. The electoral officer is appointed by the Electoral Commission, not the political party. Because, you know, sometimes, especially within this battle, when some really openly declared for one or the other, you know, it created a little bit of uneasiness when they are superintending the election. And I think it went well. The police administration, I mean, in the superdelegates.
A more direct question will be, did the best man win or the most resourceful won?
That's an interesting one, you know, but I don't want to second guess the decision of the majority. At the end of the day, he won close to 70% in the superdelegates and did over 61% with the generality close to 200,000. So we have to give him credit. I mean, that's the first time, a first timer, getting those figures. I mean, you go back into our political history, not a Dubois-Henne, not Kufuor, not a Kufuor, got that at the first time of asking. So I think we have to give credit to Dr. Bawumia. Apparently, I would like to say that he's used the platform that was provided him, the vice presidential platform, to good effect. And so therefore, I think
not abuse of incumbency.
Well, with incumbency, yes, there will be. I complained in the beginning, especially when I saw a lot of the government machinery coming out in the open. As politicians, you tend to support one another, but there are tenets of good governance. And that's why I disapproved of public, what do I call them, the CEOs especially, coming out openly. Because when you are appointed as a CEO of a state organization, you are a national figure who works for the state of Ghana. So it is important that you respect the governance, the governance tenets. So that's what I'm saying. I think that we had an issue with that, but we have to do.
The question is whether or not the best person won or the most resourceful won.
I think what is important is the people had the opportunity to freely express their wish. And again, I think from all the reports that we have received, especially from those who participated at the Accra Sports Stadium, admitting that they felt this was a very transparent and open process. Right from day one, I had the opportunity to go around and talk to people. There were a few times that we were a bit apprehensive, especially when state officials like CEOs of public organizations came out openly to support, which I thought ran against the tenets of good governance. Those are things that I was not happy with. But put it all together, once the people have delivered a mandate and everybody accepts that the process was reasonably free and fair, I think that once a result is delivered, we have to respect that result and accept that reality.
Did the best man win?
I think that we have a winner. that I do not want to describe somebody as better than others.
Okay.
I want to describe the winner as the wishes of the majority of our people, and we work with that person.
If I could press you further on that, if you had the resources available to the vice president, would you have won this election?
Well, resources do matter in elections. I mean, I was working a shoestring budget, but I said to myself, sometimes
if all the CEOs declared in support of
I would
you,
not.
if all the
I don't
ministers
think,
declared in support of you,
I think
if members of parliament abandon their work in parliament to follow you around,
let's be very clear.
sending a signal to their constituents.
No. I want to stick to our principles, and I've said this before. If you want to support, there are people who supported me but quietly, and I think that is fine. You know, because our party has rules of engagement, we have ethics, lines that we should not cross.
Okay.
So I don't want to accept the fact that, especially CEOs of public organizations who should come out openly and support my campaign. That is not acceptable, and I don't want that to happen to anybody. But these are lessons that we can learn from this process so that it can guide us as
na omeya de hye nsem na onumunyafo Kwabena Agyepong wode eto Ghana monten eso wo se wo hwe onumunyafo Dr. Bawumia na ni sodi hunu na ekame ayese enene de ne ese ono so epe Ghana yeyo ne sayo ntino e wo se wo so nkoko amene komani nyina omkom ho bom na omode ommoa nkakra atese omwo na omfa entai onumunyafo Dr. Bawumia achi se de beya Osukoko amayoko MPP omu ani so ni huna eye breaking the 8 no ebeba mu na nsem na oche se sankomoto abane ma onu emomu aka obetimi aboduma papa amagana ababeye eye krabehwe nenso mpanisa sabi aburu kotwa eye kotokoti ede kotra pesa na wasiniti ase sanse ni nua no nti se onu mom antimi amana omo ato abana ma odumunya for Dr. Bawumia na chese kokoba de deba ni nyina eye korobofo ya chese wani Munyan for Dr. Bawumia, or when this is so the same thing. Wo pepa, any akumapa, say obetimi adame Ghana, Amagana, Ababeye Krabeshe, Intiamia Adumna Adum Yena, na a year. December mu ana metre 2024 general elections no ebetoja okwa men kwahwe nifa men hwebenkum okwa akoto aba no ema onmunyafo Dr. Bawumia esanse ono kwa no betimi asesa Ghana na onmunyafo Kwabena Agyepong usanso edi nsemi ato Ghana mo nteso he abato ne yekoye no ewo misa first round na no mu yimi efrim esanse contest no na anu eyedede papa enso he Dr. Bawumia abra sabi me ma me kula ose onya babi ekoye no kula ono a ebe papa we na just say MPP dia odowo mu o MPP odowo mu kasa enkakasa onumunyafo Dr. Bawumia ene just say wo ye eye kandini emfa wo udi na atam kra na wo sara kire wo bre ne ho ase na wo mpie we na so pe kaya amotru mu a na etojewa na omeya de hensem say na onumunyafo Kwabena Agyepong wode eto Ghana monten eso ha Akoroma TV GH so ene ede di kanya wo hwe Akoroma TV na enidi kwan so mesre wiye paase obetabri akunchire wonsa asoskrabe ababeka yabusuako ne wonsa de beya news bi abeto Ghana monten eso no wonso obenya bi atien kama pa uyu akonkita nka nkonu nche comment section na akwachira wadwene abla atemnie biara enka ho fa sabo notification button so bete kunkunun na we de enye wo girlfriend ana enye wo mpona bi na text message eye Akoroma TV na yesa new message say he news no ye de aba ye chene say asori dem eye communion ye dwade no abone powder kama to spray a chese eku news no a ye pese won so hu de ekọ e wo Ghana amanyon semu Yemfas na kese emfama smart agro innovation sesanse omo no matam ye asisim pie so a ye de kase apro kama pa ho no eye kuayo ene hu videos nkwa na tse ebu kwan ye fa so eye kua ya ma kuayo aya simple kula ye de abefo aba be wura kuayo mu nti mesero say obekọ YouTube ne so na wa search smart agro innovations obe say videos na egu ocho ye de body baba ko produce bebre na we na dia dance say ya buy ho mo de essence ne santi no eye Google rank videos as number 1 smart agro dia wo de ye na wo dia sam papa ti mesro so be hwe videos ni bi se de be ya nim dia wo eye kuayo ho so no obenya foforo so aka ho se de be ya kuayo so ebesipi na asita ha na mde kase no ebesi mi amekenka ede mam no edi amje so ene yaw amwa mensa makramo